Ex-Malaysia Premier to serve 12 years in prison. Najib's chances to seek royal pardon, and several GPS Parliament members may retire from their post. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mohammed Yusuf, and this is TVS Nightline. We begin with our top story. Former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak arrived at Kajang Prison to serve his 12-year jail sentence beginning today. Najib was seen arriving at the prison complex in a black SUV around 6:47 p.m. in a heavily escorted convoy. The sentence follows the decision of the federal court in upholding his conviction, jail sentence and fine for misappropriating 42 million ringgit of SRC International Sendirian Berhad funds.
Chief Justice Tun Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat, in her broad grounds, said that based on the evidence, the submissions and the rest of the records of appeal, it was found that Najib's complaints as contained in the petition of appeal were devoid of any merit. In ordering Najib to serve his jail term immediately, Justice Tengku Maimun pronounced a warrant of committal. Najib's lead counsel, Hisham Teh Pok Tiek, then requested a stay of execution pending a review application against today's decision. Other judges on the panel were Chief Judge of Sabah and Sarawak, Tan Sri Abang Iskandar Abang Hashim, and Federal Court Judges, Datuk Nalini Padmanathan, Datuk Mary Lim Tian Swan, and Datuk Muhammad Zabidin Muhammad.
Now, having lost the appeal at the federal court, does this spell the end for former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak, who was sentenced to 12 years in jail today? Well, some think otherwise, as he can file for a review or in the event that he receives a royal pardon from the Yang di-Pertuan Agong.
Citing an online news portal, Najib can opt for a review under Rule 137 of the Rules of the Federal Court 1995, which sought a panel of judges to review the judgment made by the Apex Court. However, this does not mean that Najib can escape jail sentence pending the review. Najib's jail sentence may also be reduced if he is released early on good behavior or parole. Additionally, Najib's sentence can also be pardoned by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, which has the power to grant a pardon for all offences committed in the federal territories. Should Najib receive a pardon, he will be a free person and can stand for an election. Meanwhile, Malaysia's longest-serving leader, Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, sees a 50-50 chance that ex-Premier Datuk Seri Najib Razak will eventually receive a royal pardon.
Several Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS Parliament members have expressed their wishes to retire from being a candidate for the upcoming 15th General Elections, or GE15. According to the Deputy Minister in the Premier's Department for Corporate Affairs and UKAS, Dato' Abdullah Saidol, the final decision can only be made by the High Council of GPS.
Saya yakin pemimpin parti dalam GPS telah mengenal pasti calon-calon, sama ada calon itu akan meneruskan untuk penggal seterusnya. Tapi saya rasa dalam beberapa mesyuarat yang lepas, pemimpin setiap parti telah memberi isyarat kepada beberapa ahli parlimen, calon parlimen supaya memaklumkan dengan cepat jika mereka berhajat untuk bersara. Kalau mereka berhajat untuk bersara, dan supaya dapat kita bertindak segera untuk mengenal pasti calon baru yang mampu bekerja dan of course winnable.
He spoke during an interview after paying a visit to a former media photographer, Jonathan Bullitt, who suffered a mild stroke on Tuesday. In regards to GE15, Abdullah said GPS's election machinery is set to go and that all members of the State Legislative Assembly ADUN will be participating as well. In the meantime, ADUNs are tasked to champion development projects that were neglected due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Dan Yang Amat Berhormat Premier telah meminta supaya ADUN untuk memantau setiap projek yang terjejas dan supaya dapat diambil tindakan segera, dan sudah tentu antara cabaran kami ialah disebabkan ataupun kontraktor yang kami dengar ialah disebabkan oleh kurangnya pekerja asing, dan saya harap agensi yang berkaitan, dan kita sudah ada timbalan menteri yang bertanggungjawab dalam soal labor ni supaya dapat melakukan sesuatu bersama our counterpart di federal untuk cepat menyelesaikan isu pekerja asing yang sangat diperlukan sekarang ni.
Now, contracts for 18 critically delayed projects in Sarawak worth 563 million ringgit have been or are to be terminated soon. The projects are among the 95 projects worth over 10.3 billion ringgit listed as critically delayed projects up to June this year. On a brighter note, the briefing disclosed that 47 of the critically delayed projects worth over 2.3 billion ringgit are expected to be completed by this year. These are mainly the repairs of dilapidated schools, road construction and upgrading works, and construction of government buildings.
Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Ugah Ambas pointed out the matter during his visit to the State Public Works Department JKR Temporary Operation Room for Critical Delay Project Tracking at its Sabekas office, Kuching, on Monday. The briefing, conducted by engineers from the department, focused on the work progress or performance status of 236 development projects worth 28.67 billion ringgit now under implementation. Of the 95 critical delay projects, 45 are buildings, 20 roads, 10 coastal and second trunk road packages, 9 bridges and wharves, 7 rural development infrastructures, and 4 packages on the Pan-Borneo Highway. Ugah, who is also the Minister of Infrastructure and Port Development (MIPD), was told the buildings included health clinics in Long Busang Kapit and in Lubok Antu in Seri Aman divisions, and the repair works for dilapidated schools in Samarahan, Kapit and Sibu. He was also told that 30 other projects are to be salvaged. These are the construction of bridges, office buildings, road including upgrading works, health clinics, teachers' quarters, a sports complex, and repairs of dilapidated schools. As such, the Balai Hydro Dam Access Road costing 95 million ringgit, the 40 million ringgit National Pepper Industry Research and Development Centre in Semenggok, upgrading of the 24.56 million ringgit Pakan Road in Pakan District, and the SK Maludam and dormitory in Maludam costing 35.76 million ringgit. All these projects are expected to be completed by September this year, while 23.89 million ringgit Serian Health Clinic is expected to be ready in the first quarter of next year.
Now, Sarawak has full autonomy to issue deep-sea fishing licenses following the Special Council meeting on the Malaysia Agreement 1963 or MA63 on October 18th last year. Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan said previously the power falls exclusively under the Department of Fisheries Malaysia, with Sarawak given the authority to review the applications.
Bagi pengeluaran lesen untuk laut dalam, ya, dan ianya dikemuka kepada Ketua Pengarah Jabatan Perikanan Laut Malaysia for endorsement. Jika kita tak silap lah. So sekarang ini ialah keputusannya ialah to empower the state supaya mereka boleh, ya, membuat penilaian terhadap permohonan-permohonan yang dibuat.
Awang Tengah, who is also the Minister of Modernization of Agriculture and Regional Development, said that through the autonomy, Sarawak will be able to accelerate the development of the fisheries industry in the state, adding that the matter had been suggested to the federal government since the administration of former Chief Minister, the late Perhin Sri Adnan Satem.
Now, the decision to dissolve Parliament lies in the hands of Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, either by his own free will or through a vote of no confidence against him. Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts Minister Datuk Seri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah said it doesn't require the consensus of all political parties.
Kuasa untuk membubarkan Parlimen itu terletak kepada untuk parliamentary election terletak kepada Perdana Menteri, ataupun sekiranya ada usul tidak percaya terhadap Perdana Menteri sehingga beliau terpaksa membubarkan. It is up to him, either on his own free will ataupun there is an usul whereby the government has collapsed, then a general election has got to be held. Dia tak perlu merujuk kepada siapa-siapa coalition parties ataupun presiden-presiden parti termasuk GPS untuk membubarkan.
He said this in reference to a statement made by Parti Islam se-Malaysia PAS Deputy President Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man on Monday that all parties that comprise the government must be involved in the decision to dissolve Parliament. He added that the PAS Deputy President's statement is wrong. Earlier, Abdul Karim was met at the Seal Mountain Bike Challenge 2022 press conference held at the Kuching North City Commission, DBKU.
Coming up right after the break, a thriving art scene emerges in Sarawak and Malaysian reacts to Najib's conviction. Right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. Now, work of art moves us somehow, somewhere, whether it's a song, a play, or a painting. When people engage with art, it embodies the power to effectuate expression and communication. It's a great source of inspiration, though the sustainability of the sector is still under much scrutiny. Now, we've had an opportunity to speak to a local poet and one of the founders of Wordsmith Kuching, Maclean Patrick, on how sustainability can affect the said sector.
The public plays an important role in the effort to rejuvenate the art scene and for the sector to thrive, and it takes two to tango.
We need the public to support that. We need the public to say, hey, here's some money because I appreciate your art and I really want you to continue doing what you are doing. So that, I think, is the most practical way to support any artist in any art field. So when you have a local artist putting up a show and they have a ticket price, an admission price, pay for the ticket price, pay for the admission price, go and watch the art. Whether it's good or bad, that's everyone has a point of view, but you pay for it, and when you pay to watch the particular event or the art, you also now have the right to critique or to give feedback to that artist because, hey, you paid the admission price. So I think that's only fair, right? So if, say, you watch art for free and yet you are the biggest critique, I don't think it's fair on the artist, I don't think it's fair. So the best way to support, whether it's in a critical manner or in a very positive manner, is still pay the price or the value of what you or what the artist believes the art is worth.
Maclean also stressed that it is important for artists to leverage on digital platforms apart from conservative approach.
I do think that in Malaysia, there are more artists who are going online and thinking of online exhibitions than we believe. Because I think they're just not out there yet. They just haven't come out and really hit the scene. But it is happening. It is happening, and it is driven by younger artists. It's driven by more independent artists because one, it's really low cost but high impact, and your reach is so much bigger. When you go online, the world is your.
Now, Najib's sentencing on Tuesday was met with mainly positive reaction. However, a lawyer for Najib expressed his disappointment after the federal court upheld a verdict that found the former Prime Minister guilty of corruption charges.
You have heard the decision of the federal court. Verdict was read by the learned Chief Justice. Of course, we are very sad because we lost the appeal. I only say that we seek comfort and solace in the words of a great Indian jurist who said that the Almighty alone can dispense perfect justice. Thank you so much.
Following the federal court sentence upon Najib, many were pleased with the result and expressing jubilation that justice ultimately prevails.
From the bottom of my heart, happy lah, justice lah dekat dia punya punishment tu memang dia sepatutnya kena macam tu lah.
Another Putrajaya resident, where the court announced its verdict, said the sentencing was well deserved.
Kita percaya pada institusi kehakiman kita lah bila dah diverdikkan yang dia memang guilty. And I've read in the news today yang dia kena 12 tahun penjara dengan kena bayar 210 juta, right? So saya rasa macam untuk kalau betul dia dah disabitkan dengan kesalahan tu, rasanya memang sepatutnya lah.
The 8-day state visit of the Yang Di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah to Turkey last Monday has had a massive impact on strengthening bilateral relations between Malaysia and the Republic. Comptroller of the Royal Household for Istana Negara, Datuk Seri Ahmad Fadil Shamsuddin, said the visit made at the invitation of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan was special as it symbolized the importance, closeness and strong bilateral relationship between Malaysia and Turkey, which was established since 1964.
Ahmad Fadil Shamsuddin deems the visit a success based on three things, namely, His Majesty was conferred the Turkish Order of the State, the highest award of the Turkish government, making him the first ASEAN head of state to be given the honor. His Majesty was awarded an honorary doctorate in political science and international relations by the Marmara University. Ahmad Fadil said Erdogan personally requested the visit to be extended to 8 days from the original 7 days. His Majesty was optimistic that bilateral relations between Malaysia and Turkey would continue to strengthen ahead of the 60th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two nations in 2024. His Majesty is expected to hold his next state visit to Singapore next month.
Thank you for staying with us. Now onto some global news. USA's Director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Dr. Anthony Fauci, has announced that he is stepping down in December after serving more than 5 decades in the department. During his swan song, Fauci said his replacement will be someone from a different venue, which will require major discussions with the White House.
But not retire. When I leave, I'm not going to go play golf. I'm going to continue to be doing the things that I'm doing, only in a different venue. I do, and I hope that, and I believe I likely will get some continuity of protection after I leave. I don't know how long that will be, but certainly just because one announces next month, next year, or whatever, that you're going to step down, the threats don't necessarily stop. and there are a lot of them.
Fauci endured major criticism from Trump and various conservatives when the former president of USA was in power. Americans who are against safeguarding their lives against COVID-19 have also issued death threats, questioning the necessity of vaccination, social distancing, and masking. Fauci had served the institute since 1984 under 7 U.S. presidents, beginning with Republican Ronald Reagan in the 1980s, and was in the front line against various infectious diseases, including HIV/AIDS, Ebola, Zika, and the more recent ones such as monkeypox and COVID-19.
Now, a journalist was shot dead on Monday afternoon in southern Mexico, authorities said shortly after posting online about the disappearance 8 years ago of 43 students from a nearby area. Fredit Roman, who published his work on various social media pages and contributed to a local newspaper, was found dead in his car in the city of Chilapanchigo, the capital of Guerrero State, the local prosecutor's office said on Monday evening. 12 journalists have been killed in Mexico so far this year, according to the government, while the NGO Reporters Without Borders (RSF) lists 9. Some media outlets have put the figure at 15 or 16. With about 150 journalists murdered since the year 2000, according to RSF, Mexico is considered one of the most dangerous countries in the world for the press. Most of those murders remained unpunished.
The case of the 43 students from Guerrero who went missing in 2014 after commandeering a bus to head to a protest is considered one of the worst human rights disasters in Mexican history. The case was forced back into the spotlight last week when a Truth Commission branded the atrocity a state crime that involved agents of various institutions. A few hours before his death, Roman published a long Facebook post titled "State Crime Without Charging the Boss," in which he mentioned an alleged meeting between 4 officials at the time of the students' disappearance, including former Attorney General Jesus Morelo Caram. Morelo Caram was arrested after the publication of the Truth Commission report last week, while dozens of warrants were issued for suspects, including military personnel, police officers, and cartel members. It was not immediately clear if Roman's recent posts on the missing students or his other journalistic work played a role in his death.
Now, what happens when you mix traditional arts such as wayang kulit with modern pop culture references? You'll get sci-fi characters such as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and shadow puppet forms. Join founder of Fusion Wayang Kulit Tintoy Chua on Sejahtera Asia with hosts Fatah and Jessica. Plus, they'll be joined by dentist Jasmine Fadilah on the importance of yearly dental checkup. 7:45 a.m. only on TVS Astro Channel 122 and My Freeview. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates, both locally and internationally. Just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvstv.my or by following us on our social media platforms. And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. Once again, my name is Muhammad Yusuf. Good night.